Okay, so greetings to everyone. By the way, I'm Engineer John Renal Capellanes and welcome to Jacob Engineering Video Tutorials. Okay, so ang subject natin ngayon is Geotechnical Engineering. Okay, so ito yung ating Module 2 Part 2 wherein iti-take up natin na topic dito class is about shrinkage limit. Okay, in shrinkage limit test. Okay, so in this video we will derive 4 common formulas. Okay, formula derivation muna tayo dito class. Okay, yung purpose nito class is para malaman natin yung concept niya. Okay, para kapag pinaikot-ikot yung problem niya class, kapag alam nyo ito, yung concept niya, talagang makukuha mo siya. Okay? So, let's start na class, no? Okay, so ito yung concept niya class, no? Ito yung ating soil path before drying, ito yung ating soil path after drying. Okay, so may soil sample tayo class, wherein in this soil sample class, yung state natin dito is in saturated soil. Okay, where M1 class, M1 is represent our initial mass, and then V1 represent the initial volume. Okay, and then class, in this shrinkage limit test, ilalagay ito yung sample class into in the oven at i-dry siya with a certain time. Okay, kapag alam natin class, kapag dry yung soil, okay, ma-change yung volume of water, madi-decrease yon. Okay, kapag magdi-decrease yung volume ng water class, madi-decrease rin yung volume ng soil. Okay? So, therefore class, during drying, there is a shrinkage occur. Okay? So, from this volume class, then ito na yung volume niya after drying. So, M2 class represent the final mass or the oven dried mass of soil. And V2 represent the final volume or the volume of soil of oven dried soil. Okay, kapag i-draw natin siya class by graphical, okay, wherein vertical axis represent the volume of soil, and then horizontal axis represent the moisture content. Alam natin class, no, SL denoted natin siya shrinkage limit, denoted na SL, PL or plastic limit, LL is liquid limit, and we know that SL, PL, and LL is only a moisture content, but different properties. Okay? I-graph natin class, no? Di ba sinabi natin kanina, yung sample natin is insaturated. Okay? Kapag saturated siya class, okay, nabilong ito in liquid state. Okay? So therefore, ito yung ating moisture content at the natural state of soil, where located siya at A. Okay, where this height class, okay, where this height, ito yung ating volume 1 or the initial volume. Okay, gets nyo class? Okay, since nag-oven dry tayo class. Okay, so therefore, ito yung direction ng moisture content natin. Pa-left tayo kasi decreasing ito. Okay? If I will draw class a horizontal line that will intersect point A. Okay? And then we know that during drying there is a decrease. Okay? There is a decrease in moisture content. Therefore, there is also a decrease in volume. Ito yung direction niya class. Okay? Nakuha nyo? So therefore, if we dry natin siya class, okay? So from the natural state of soil to B tayo. So, ito yung class at B. Okay? Kapag at B siya class, yung moisture content niya is LL or the liquid limit. Okay? Kapag further drying ko pa siya, from B to C, wherein the moisture content class at point C is PL or denoted or represent natin siya as plastic limit. Okay? And then, if further drying ko pa siya class, okay, from C to D, okay, yung moisture content niya class at point D is tinatawag natin siya as shrinkage limit or denoted natin siya as SL. Okay? So, in shrinkage limitless, okay, dito na mamimit yung minimum volume ng soil. Okay? Kahit further drying mo pa siya, no, hindi na talaga magbabago yon. Okay? It cannot change even if further drying mo pa siya. 'Di ba? At 'di ba, kapag titingnan natin siya at A, B, and C, kapag further drying mo pa siya, is magdi-decrease yung volume niya. Means, nag-change pa. Okay? Wherein, kapag further drying ko pa to, okay, from D to this point, therefore, there will be no change in volume of soil. Okay? Lagi lang talaga natin tandaan dito, class. Kapag yung soil sample natin is kapag yung moisture content niya is located as SL, yung state ng soil natin is insaturated soil. Okay? Composed lang talaga ng water and solids. Okay? Kapag further drying mo pa siya, class, therefore, there is a change in mass but no change in volume of soil. Okay? Kapag further drying ko pa siya, class, okay, so therefore, ito na yun. Where mamimit na yung moisture content at 0, class. Okay? Kapag moisture content, class, is 0, okay, means that no water, there is no water present in soil. Okay, so this means that kapag MC is equal to 0, that represents that the soil is oven-dried soil. Okay, so therefore, class, that this volume will be that the oven-dried soil or the V2. Okay, and this volume is V1. Okay, nakuha nyo ko, class? Okay, lagi nyo tandaan ito. Okay, kapag shrinkage limit, may tubig pa to. Okay, kapag moisture content mo, 0 na, ay oven-dried na talaga. Okay, kuha nyo, class? Okay, so mag-derive formula tayo dito, class. Okay, so before deriving, class, no, at talagang i-draw muna natin yung properties ng soil niya. Okay, so from initial point, ito yung ating initial point, class, and then to shrinkage limit, and then to the oven-dried soil. Okay, soil path before drying, class, yung moisture content niya nandito. Okay, kapag yung soil mo is oven-dried soil, dito na siya na-locate, class. Okay, so yung target natin, class, is to solve the shrinkage limit. Okay, so therefore, class, yung kunin natin, class, is yung travel natin from A to D. Okay, and class, pwede natin din i-travel from D to this point. Okay, so i-draw muna natin yung properties ng soil wherein the moisture content, class, is in natural state. Okay, so ito yung, class, dito yan. Okay, so therefore, the moisture content at NC2, okay, sinabi natin, this is a saturated soil. So therefore, yung volume of voids is fully occupied by volume of water. So therefore, the composition will be solids and water only. Okay, so ang gawin natin dito is i-level natin siya. Where in the right side of this element diagram, ilalevel natin siya by weight, and in the left side is by volume. Okay, so therefore, ito yung ating mass na solids. Okay, we're denoted natin siya as MS. At ito yung ating mass ng water. And then the total mass, class, the total mass is equal to the mass of water plus mass of solids, and that represent the mass 1. Okay, that represent the initial mass, class. Okay, and then this will be our volume of solids, this will be our volume of water, and the total volume, class, is the volume of water plus volume of solids. Okay, and then the total volume, class, is represent V1. This is the initial volume of the soil since MC is at in situ pa yan. Okay, okay, dito yung, class, no, ito yung, class. Okay, so ito travel natin sa, class. Okay, ito yung, class, ha. Ito yun, at A tayo. Okay, yung moisture content mo, dito yan, class, ha. Yung A natin, dito yung moisture content. Okay, ang gusto natin gawin is, ita-travel natin siya from natural moisture content to shrinkage limit. Ito yan. Okay, so, Ang gawin natin class is i-draw natin yung properties ng soil wherein the moisture content is at shrinkage limit. Okay? Di ba sinabi natin kapag yung moisture content mo is located at the shrinkage limit, that means that the yung volume niya is in minimum condition na. Okay? And then yung state ng soil is insaturated. Okay? Wherein composed lang talaga ng ng solids at ng water. This is a saturated soil. Okay? And then, this will be the mass of solids, and this will be our mass ng water, or MW prime, denoted as MW prime. Okay? Ito yung ating mass ng water at shrinkage limit. Okay? Anong na-notice natin dito, class? Okay? Yung na-change lang is yung volume ng water. Okay? Yung volume ng solids is talagang constant yung class. Okay? Talagang hindi magbabago yan. Okay? This will be our change in mass of water. Okay? Change in mass of water. Okay? How to solve the change in mass of water? Okay? We know, class, that the mass of water is equal to the density of water times the volume of water. And then, if you want to solve the delta or the change, so therefore change in mass of water is equal to density of water times the change in volume of water. Okay? Since we know this one, okay, so ang kulang na lang, class, is how to solve the volume of water. Okay, paano natin kunin yung volume of water, class? Okay, paano natin kunin yan? A change in volume of water. Yung change in volume of water, class, ito yun. Ito yung change na ito. Ito yung, class. Change in volume of water. Ito yung, paano natin kunin ito, class? Okay, we know that the volume of soil, class, at the oven-dried soil is equal to the volume of soil at shrinkage limit. Kasi kapag shrinkage limit, talagang hindi na yan mababago, minimum na talaga yan. Okay, so therefore, yung volume dito, class, is equal to V2. Okay, that is the final volume or the oven-dried volume of soil. So therefore, the change in volume is equal to V1 minus V2. Okay, so using this formula, class, density times change in volume, we have the height of V1 minus V2 times the density of water. Okay, so this is the element diagram wherein the moisture content is located at the shrinkage limit. Okay? Kapag ipa-further drying ko pa siya, class, okay, tingnan nyo, yung B natin is located at this point, D. Okay? Kapag ipa-further drying ko pa yan, class, okay, from D to this point, talagang walang matitirang tubig dyan kasi zero na yan. Okay? So, ang gusto natin i-draw natin, class, is yung element properties of soil at this point. Okay? So, ito yung, class. Ito yan. Okay? So, MC is equal to 0 or oven-dried soil. Okay? So, ito yon. Okay? So, composed ng solids at ng air. Okay? Wherein, yung volume ng shrinkage limit is equal to the volume of oven-dried soil. Okay? Yung nawala lang, class, is yung water lang. Okay? Kaya air at solids lang yan. Okay? So, this will be our, okay, yung mass ng solids natin, class, is equal to the mass ng oven-dried soil. Since yung mass ng air is negligible. Okay? And then, ito yung ating volume ng solids at ito yung ating volume ng oven-dried soil. Okay? So, if for the drying, mag-derive formula derivation na tayo dito, class. Okay? Okay, so, in shrinkage limit formula, class, may dalawa tayong formula. Okay, ito yung una, class. Okay, SL is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. Okay, where, okay, M1 represent the mass of wet saturated soil. Pag sinabi nating wet, class, hindi lang saturated yan. Okay? It can be moist or saturated soil. Okay? So, M2 represent the mass of oven-dried soil. V2 is represent the volume of wet soil. Okay? And V2 is represent the volume of oven-dried soil. Okay? So, paano natin derive nito, class? Okay? Formula derivation tayo, class. We know that shrinkage limit is only a moisture content. Class, tandaan natin yan, no? And we know that moisture content is equal to the mass of water divided by the mass of solids. Talagang yan lang talagang formula niya. Wala nang iba. Okay? And then, how to solve the moisture content at shrinkage limit? So, therefore, the shrinkage limit is simply that is equal to mass of water at shrinkage limit divided by the mass of solids at shrinkage limit. Okay? Yung kapag kunin mo yung moisture content at shrinkage limit, yung gamitin mo na mass ng water is at shrinkage limit. Okay, yun lang yun, class. Okay, alam natin na mass of water at shrinkage limit, ito yon, MW prime, at mass ng solids, ito yon. So therefore, our equation will be SL is equal to MW prime divided by MS, and let that be our equation 1. Okay, kuha niyo ako, class. Okay, so paano natin kunin si MW prime? Okay, paano natin kunin si MW prime, class? Ito yung MW prime natin. Okay? If I will draw a horizontal line, class. Okay? This height, okay? This change in mass, class. So the MW prime is equal to MW minus this one, class. Okay? And we know that this value is represent the change in mass of water. Okay? Get you, class? Okay, that's why, okay, so MW prime is equal to MW minus change in mass of water. Okay? And then, simplify natin, so MW minus V1 minus V2 times the density of water. Okay, kuha niyo ako, class. Okay, dito na tayo. And then, yung mass of water natin, class. Okay, how can we solve this one? How can we resolve this one? MW, class. Ito yung ating mass of water. As MW is the mass of water at NC2, at moisture content at NC2. So therefore, class, MW, okay, MW is equal to M1 minus M2. Okay, ito yung, class. Okay, yung MW natin, okay, mass of water at moisture content at NC2, it's simply M1 minus M2. Okay? And then minus, okay, V1 minus V2, okay, V1 minus V2 times the density of water. Okay, gets nyo, class? Okay, so ang gawin natin, class, substitute natin dito. Okay, itong equation, substitute natin siya sa equation 1. So, from equation 1, we have shrinkage limit, okay, M1 minus M2 minus V1 minus V2 times the density of water divided by M2. And then, in this equation, class, separable yan. Okay, it can be separated. Okay, mas-separate itong dalawang yan. Mas-separate yan. Okay, so therefore, class, our equation will be SL is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. That's the first formula na gagamitin natin, class. Okay, so yun na yung derivation niya. Okay? So yung transition na ginamit dito, class, is from A to B tayo. Okay? Kasi M1 is na-involved lang siya at A, at figure A. Okay? And then, class, how about yung pangalawang formula? Ito yung pangalawang formula, class. Okay? Where SL, or shrinkage limit, is equal to V2 divided by M2 minus 1 over density of solids times the density of water. Okay? And where M2, class, represent the mass of oven-dried soil, V2 is equal to volume of oven-dried soil, and then density of water, that is denoted as density of water, and this one is the density of solids. Okay, gets nyo ako, class? Okay, so paano derive ito, class? Okay, paano natin derive ito? Okay, so, yung gusto natin gawin dito, class, is yung kapag sinabi natin density of solids, kapag nag-derive tayo dito ng shrinkage limit, para magkaroon tayo ng density of solids, talagang kailangan talagang meron tayong ma-involve na volume ng solids at mass ng solids para makabuo tayo ng density of solids. Okay, so anong transition na gagamitin natin dito, class? Okay, anong transition natin? Okay, so ang transition na titingnan natin, class, is from B to C, or the shrinkage limit to the oven-dried soil. Dito tayo titingin, class. Okay, kuha niyo ako. No? Okay, the same formula, class. What is the formula of shrinkage limit? Since shrinkage limit is a moisture content, that is, shrinkage limit is equal to the mass of water at shrinkage limit divided by the mass of solids. Okay, yun na yun, class. And we know, okay, that the mass of water at shrinkage limit is denoted natin siya as MW prime. At mass na solids is ito yon. Okay? And then therefore, shrinkage limit is equal to MW prime divided by MS. And let that be our equation 1. Okay? And then, how to solve MW prime, class? MW prime. How to solve MW prime? Okay? MW prime, how to solve? Okay, so MW prime is equal to V2 minus Vs times the density of water. Okay, explain ko lang ito, class. Okay, explain ko lang yan. Okay, explain ko lang yan. We know that the mass of water is equal to the density of water times the volume of water. Okay? Since we know this one, so how to solve the volume of water? Okay, by the way, prime ito at prime yan. Okay, how to solve the volume of water prime? Okay, yung volume of water, class, prime is ito yung volume na yan. Ito yung volume na to. Okay? And then, yung volume na yan, class, is equivalent to this volume. The volume ng air. Gets nyo ako, class? So, therefore, the VW prime is equal to, okay, is equal to V2. Ito yung, class. Ito. Okay, ito yon. Ito yon, V2 minus Vs. That is the volume of water. Okay? And then, to solve the mass, simply, i-times mo lang sa density ng water. So, therefore, V2 minus Vs, okay, times the density of water. That is the mass of water prime. Okay? Nakuha niyo ako, class? Okay, so from equation 1, substitute na natin to. So, therefore, we have SL is equal to V2 minus Vs times the density of water divided by Ms. Okay? And then, separate natin, class, kasi masiseparate ito. Okay? So, we have SL is equal to V2 divided by Ms minus Vs divided by Ms times the density of water. Okay? So, ang gawin ko, class, ito yung gawin ko. Okay? So, V2 divided by Ms minus 1 over Ms divided by Vs. Okay? Walang nabago dyan, class. Okay? Yung Vs is nilagay ko lang sa baba. Okay? Times the density of water. And we know that the density of solids is equal to the mass of solids divided by the volume of solids. So, therefore, yung equation natin, magkakaroon ng SL is equal to V2 divided by Ms minus 1 over the density of solids times the density of water. Okay, gets nyo ako? And then, we know, okay, that that Ms, okay, is equal to the mass of oven-dried soil. And mass ng oven-dried soil is denoted as M2. Okay, so therefore, our formula will be SL is equal to V2 divided by M2 minus 1 over density of solids times the density of water. Okay, so yun na yung formula natin. Okay, so Yun na yung pangalawang formula derivation natin, class. Okay? How about yung third formula na i-derive natin? Okay, so may tinatawag tayo, class, na shrinkage ratio. Okay? The shrinkage ratio, which is the ratio of the volume of change of soil as a percentage of the dry volume to the corresponding change in moisture content. Okay? And shrinkage ratio is denoted natin siya as SR. And SR is equal to M2 divided by the density of water times V2. Okay, M2, class, that is represent the mass of oven-dried soil, and V2, that is represent the volume of oven-dried soil. Okay, so paano natin i-derive yung formula na to? Okay, paano natin i-derive ng formula na yan, class? Okay, so before that, class, magdodraw lang muna ako ng dimension niya, class. Okay, so at A, class, ito yung ating natural, by the way, class, yung moisture content natin at natural state is denoted lang natin siya as MC1. Okay? Ito yung ating moisture content at natural state, class. Okay? Kung natural state yan, yung volume niya is P1. Okay? Kapag nag-oven-dried siya, class. Okay? Kapag nag-oven-dried ito. Okay? Kapag nag-oven-dried yan. Okay? Ito na yung ang kanyang volume 2. Okay? And then, class. Okay? And then, yung target dito, class, is the shrinkage ratio. Wherein i-represent niya yung shrinkage limit. Okay? So, that's why, class, ita-travel natin siya, yung ita-travel condition natin is from A to D. A to D tayo, class. Okay? Take note, class. Yung volume ng oven-dried soil is equal to the volume ng soil at shrinkage limit. So, therefore, okay, ito yung, class, ha? Okay, I will draw a vertical line, okay, that will intersect point A. Okay? So, therefore, class, there is a change in volume. Ito yung change in volume, class, ha? Ito yung change ng volume niya. Okay, from travel from A to D. Okay, kasi i-represent natin yung shrinkage limit niya, class. Okay, and then how about yung volume lang ba yung nag-change? Hindi. Okay, and also its moisture content, class. And we know that the moisture content at natural state is ito yung, class. That is MC1. At the shrinkage limit, ito yung moisture content niya, class. Okay, how to solve the change in moisture content? Ito yun. Dito yung, class. Ito yun. Ito yung change in moisture content natin. Okay, change in moisture content. Okay, so, paano natin solve si change in moisture content, class? That is simply MC1, ito yung, class, divided by SL. Okay, gets nyo ako? Okay, so, in deriving the shrinkage ratio, class, okay, so, dito lang tayo magsimula sa ratio niya, sa definition niya. Okay? So, ito yung, class. So, SR is equal to the change in volume divided by V2 divided by change in moisture content. Okay, explain ko to, class, ha? Explain ko to, class. Okay, di ba sinabi dito is the ratio of the, okay, of the volume of change of soil. Okay, ito yon. Change in volume of soil. Ito yung, class. Ito yon. Ito yon. Okay? And then, as percentage of the dry volume. Okay? Kailangan i-percentage yan. Okay? So, therefore, para percentage siya, class, i-over divided by the volume of dry soil. So, divided by V2 yan. Okay? So, this term, class. Okay? This term, okay, itong term na yan, okay, ito yon. Ito yung, class. Okay? And then, from the word 2, okay, kailangan erase natin to. Okay, 2 over yan. Okay? To the corresponding change. Okay, change in moisture content. Okay, so, change in moisture content, class, ito yan. Okay, so, yun na yung, class. So, let that be our equation 1. Okay? And then, how to solve the change in volume, class? Okay, so, change in volume, that is simply V1 minus V2. Okay, that is equivalent to change in volume. And then how about to solve the change in moisture content? Okay, change in moisture content dito yung class, oh. Itong range na yan, ito yung change in moisture content niya. Okay, that is simply MC1 minus SL. Okay, so therefore, change in moisture content is equal to MC1 minus SL. Let that be our equation 2. Okay, so by the way, class, okay, ulitin ko lang, ito yung change in volume niya, class, ha? Itong height na to, itong height na yan. Okay, change in volume niyan. Okay, change in volume and change in moisture content. Okay? So, yun, class. And then, how to solve, and we know that, class, we know that MC1, this is the moisture content, okay, this is the moisture content at the natural state of soil. And then how to solve MC1? Okay, that is simply, okay, MC1, that is simply M1 minus M2 divided by M2. Since natural state yan. Okay, nakuha nyo ko? Okay, and from na-derive natin formula kanina, we know that shrinkage limit is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. Okay, so ang gawin natin, class, i-substitute lang natin to. Okay, so ito yung equation na to, substitute natin dyan. And then, equation na to, i-substitute natin dito. Okay, so therefore, from equation 2, we have change in moisture content is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. Okay? And we know, class, okay, by inspection, this term can be cancelled out. Kasi minus yan. Okay, gets nyo ko? So therefore, and then, negative times negative, that is positive. Okay, so therefore, our equation will be V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. Okay? So, ang gawin natin, class, okay, substitute natin itong equation na to, dito sa equation number 1, at ito dito. Okay? So, nakuha nyo, class? So, therefore, from equation 1, we have shrinkage ratio is equal to, okay, V1 minus V2 over V2 divided by V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. Okay? And then we know that V1 minus V2 can be cancelled out. Okay? And itong M2, class, is, okay, matatransfer yan dyan. Okay? So therefore, our equation will be, or the final formula will be, SR is equal to M2 divided by the density of water times the volume 2. Okay? Or, it can be that mass of dry soil divided by the density of water times the volume of dry soil. Okay? Gets nyo ka, class? Okay? So, yun yung derivation ng shrinkage ratio. Okay? So, how about the fourth formula natin na i-derive natin, class? Okay? Ito yung, class. May tinatawag tayo na specific gravity of solids, or denoted natin siya as GS. Ito yung formula natin, class. Okay, so GS is equal to 1 divided by 1 over SR minus SL divided by 100. And we know that SR represent the shrinkage ratio and SL represent the shrinkage limit of the soil. Okay, so using this formula, class, kasi may ibang formula, class, na walang 100 dyan. Okay, kapag may 100 dyan, class, kapag over 100 dyan, kailangan yung shrinkage limit mo is in percentage. Okay, pero kung hindi mo gusto ito, class, okay, kapag walang 100 dyan, class, it should be SL, it should be in percent, it should be in decimal form. Okay, tandaan nyo yan, class. Okay, so paano natin i-derive ito? Okay, paano natin i-derive ito, class? So, magsimula tayo sa na-derive natin formula, class. Okay, so we know that shrinkage limit is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus V1 minus V2 divided by M2 times the density of water. Okay? Okay, so ang gawin ko, class, is separate ko to. Okay, isi-separate ito. Masisimplify pa yan. Okay, kasi itong term na to, class, masiseparate pa to. Okay, so therefore, SL is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M2 minus V1 times the density of water divided by M2. Okay, that is, ito yan, class. V1 divided by M2 times the density of water. So, ito yon. Okay, so, then, negative times negative, that is positive, and V2 times density of water divided by M2. And let that be our equation number 1. Okay? And we know, class, no? Where shrinkage ratio is equal to M2 divided by the density of water times V2. Okay? And then, kapag in-inverse ko yan, class, yung shrinkage ratio, okay? Okay, magkakaroon yan, class, ng 1 over SR is equal to density of water times volume 2 divided by M2. Okay, ito yung, class. Ito yon. Okay, gets nyo, class? Okay, this term represent 1 over SR. That is equal to 1 over SR. Okay? And this, how about this term, class? M1 minus M2. Okay, the moisture content at the natural state of soil minus the mass of oven dried soil. What is ano ito, class? M1 minus M2. Okay, that is simply mass of water. Mass of water. Okay, mass of water at the natural state of soil. Okay? So, ang gawin ko, class, is i-substitute ko lang to. Okay, itong equation na to at itong equation na to. So, therefore, from equation 1, we have SL, okay, so MW divided by M2 minus V1 times density of water divided by M2 plus 1 over SR. Okay? Yung gusto natin i-derive, class, yung GS. Okay? Kailangan itong equation na to, class, magkakaroon ng, okay, paano magkakaroon ng GS, class? Yung equation natin is kung kapag meron tayo ng volume na solids at mass na solids. Okay? Since, class, yung M2 natin, that is represent the mass of oven-dried soil, that is simply equal to mass of solids. Okay? So, ano na lang yung kulang, class? Is yung volume ng solids. Okay? So, paano natin kunin si volume ng solids, class? Okay? Diba, we can use this formula, class, no? Itong formula na to, mass, okay, mass ng water is equal to the density of water times the volume of water. Okay, ito yung, class. Yun lang formula natin. Okay, alam na natin to. Okay, so paano natin kunin si VW of the volume of water? Okay, take note, kasi that is the volume of water at the natural state of soil. Okay, so paano natin kunin si VW? Okay, so balik lang ako sa class, ha? Balik lang ako dito, class. Okay, balik tayo sa properties ng soil. Okay, so, di ba yung VW natin, class, ito yon. Di ba, ito yung dapat natin kunin, class, VW. So, paano natin kunin yan? Okay, that is simple, class, that V1 minus Vs. Okay, that represent the volume of water. Okay, na-get yung, class. So, meron na tayong Vs. Okay, so, balik lang ako. Okay, so therefore, class, our equation will be simplified as shrinkage limit is equal to V1 minus Vs. Ito yung ating volume ng water, class. Para ma-mass yan, times natin to ng density of water. Okay, so ito na yung, class. This MW is equal to this term. Okay, divided by M2 is equal minus V1 times density of water divided by M2 plus 1 over SR. Okay? And then, class, masiseparate itong term na yan. Okay? Masiseparate yan. At SL is equal to V1 density of water divided by M2 minus Bs times density of water divided by M2 minus B1 times density of water divided by M2 plus 1 over SR. And since similar term naman yan, class, okay, so therefore, makakancel out yan. Okay? So, therefore, class, our equation will be simplified in this term. So, SL is equal to 1 over SR minus Bs times density of water divided by the mass of oven red salt, or M2. Okay? Okay, so where M2, class, is equal to Ms. Okay, that is the equivalent to mass na solids. Okay, and then substitute lang natin, class. So, therefore, SL is equal to 1 over SR, okay, minus Bs times density of water divided by Ms. Okay, so ano sunod natin dapat gawin dito, class? Okay? So, since class, yung GS natin is nandito na side, class. So, ita-transfer ko siya dito nga side, and then yung SL natin, ita-transfer ko siya in the right side. Okay, so ito yung, class. Okay, density of water divided by the mass of solids divided by the volume of solids is equal to 1 over SR minus SL. Okay, so ang ginawa ko dito, class, itong term na to, yung VS ko is nilipat ko sa denominator. Okay? So, and we know, class, no? And we know that that the density of solids is equal to mass of solids divided by the volume of solids. Okay? So, therefore, density of water is divided by the density of solids is equal to 1 over SR minus SL. Okay? So, yung gawin ko, class, is kunin ko yung LCD. Isisimplify ko itong dalawang term na yan. Iko-combine ko yan. Okay, so therefore, mag-LCD lang tayo, class. So therefore, the density of water divided by density of solids is equal to 1 minus SR times SL divided by SR. Okay, yun lang yun, class. Okay, nag-LCD lang ako. Kinumbine ko lang itong dalawang term na yan. And then, ang gawin ko, class, is i-inverse ko to. Okay, i-inverse ko siya. Okay, ang gawin natin, i-inverse natin siya into, power natin siya into -1. Okay, so that's why, yung equation natin will be, density of solids divided by density of water is equal to SR divided by 1 minus SR times SL. Okay, by the way, class, now, yung GS natin, okay, yung GS natin, class, okay, GS is equal to the density of solids divided by the density of water. Okay, so this term, class, this will be our GS. Okay, so therefore, GS is equal to 1 over 1 minus SR times SL divided by SR. Yung SR, class, transfer ko lang sa baba. Okay, walang nagbago dyan, class. Okay? That is same equation, class. Okay, so therefore, itong denominator na to is masiseparate ito, class. Okay, so therefore, GS, okay, GS is equal to 1 over SR. This is the term, class, 1 over SR. And then minus, ito, class, minus and then minus. The SR times SL divided by SR, that is represent SL. Okay, so if you want, class, na yung SL mo is in percentage, i-divide mo lang yung ng 100. Okay, kung hindi mo gusto yung SL mo is in percent, okay, pwede mo siyang gamitin in decimal form, pero kailangan wala yung 100 niya. Okay, nakuha ako, class. Okay, so yun na yung apat na formulas na talagang gagamitin natin. Okay? So, okay, that's it, class. Okay, that's the end of our part 2. Okay, so thank you for watching and good luck and God bless.